In this video, I will explain full episode of Renegade Immortal new episode, so do like. The story continues right from where Wang Lin was watching this entire scene, and he understands that this guy must have calculated for years just for this day today, and finally, he is getting successful in it. And indeed, his 18 plum restriction is very, very strong, and I am not here following him for some treasure. I just want his 18 plum restriction, which is why I have followed him all the way here. But just then, Wang Lin looks at the surrounding mountains and areas and begins to say that the restrictions placed on these mountains and places are extremely huge. And I fear that, if he uses them properly, the situation could get worse for me. Meaning I cannot wait at all. So what then? Wang Lin takes out the celestial sword and throws it at him. As a result, both of them get separated from each other, and from here that girl manages to run away. But as soon as Li Yuan goes to chase her, Wang Lin attacks with his celestial sword and says, "You planned very well here, but your target from the start was me as well. You intentionally brought me here." To which he begins to say, "Brother Su, please stop. You are thinking wrong. It is true that I wanted to borrow that technique of yours, but I didn't want to cause you any harm." During this, Wang Lin stops attacking him, and he begins to say, "Yes, I need the help of that divine spell through which you can stop everything." To which Wang Lin says, "What? Stop spell?" After which Wang Lin throws his sword towards him. He blocks it, and during this, Wang Lin says, "Stop!" So what then? Wang Lin quickly moves close to him, attacks his chest and says, "But I really hate people who keep others in the dark, scheme against them, and trap them in their plans." Now he gets hit by that punch and that guy falls far away. But just then, Li Yuan begins to say, "Brother Su, as long as you help me with the help of your divine spell, I am fully confident that the burden that has been placed on the Li family until now, due to which we have been suffering so far, I can finally break it completely and bring freedom to my family." Hearing this, Wang Lin attacks him and says, "But what do I have to do with your family? Oh my goodness, guys." Just then, Brother Li uses the annihilation restriction for the first time. And as soon as he uses it, a huge lotus appears here, on top of which he was standing, and begins to say, "Rise!" The annihilation restriction here is so terrifying that only normal fans can tell what a crazy thing this is. Now, when Wang Lin sees the annihilation restriction for the first time, he begins to say, "So, this is the one that is resonating with the restriction of this mountain." Just then, Li Yuan cracks space, grabs that girl, drags her completely inside, and says, "Where are you running?" Now, Wang Lin could feel that as long as this restriction is applied here, it is connected to every single thing, and Wang Lin was also feeling suppression on himself, and he could feel that his aura had reached the second step. Holding that girl near him, he then begins to say, "Once we reach the top of the mountain, after sacrificing your blood, I will finish you off. So, it would be better if you don't make me angry and I don't eliminate you here for no reason." Then he looks towards Wang Lin. Here, Wang Lin knows well that if he had to take such a risk just for the 18 plum restriction, he would have never come this far. But now, he has seen the annihilation restriction. Just then, Li Yuan goes to him and begins to say, "Brother Su, I have no ill intentions towards you." Saying this, he removes the restriction slightly from near him and begins to say, "I am trusting you that you will believe my words and listen to me." Saying this, he begins the story of his past. Listen carefully, you will really enjoy it too, and going forward, this place is going to link very much with Wang Lin's story. So, Li Yuan begins to tell that his Li family has been a very prosperous family in terms of restrictions since ancient times. And when it comes to restrictions, no one is better than our family. But 3,000 years ago today, someone placed the celestial slave seal on our ancestor. And since then until today, our clan's future kept declining. Generation by generation, our power, our knowledge, everything slowly decreased. It didn't matter who had how much talent inside them. Ascendant was our final limit. We could never progress beyond this. Our lifespan also becomes very short, whereas the lifespan of other cultivators of the same realm is much more than ours. But we just couldn't move beyond Ascendant, and our bloodline is like a burning lamp whose oil is going to run out at any moment. But then, our people took a very firm decision to remove this slave mark. They decided that many people of our Li family would sacrifice themselves so that we could remove this slave mark, and through their flesh, bones, and blood, we could finally make that divine sword through which this seal can be broken. And this sword that you can see, this is called the seal-breaking sword, which our people have made with their blood and sweat. And the rest of the story you already know, that thanks to the Gu family, because of them, our plan could never succeed. And today, only I, my younger sister, and my old mother remain in the Li family. Saying this, he gets a bit emotional. Wang Lin was continuously looking at him and then begins to say, "My lifespan is also going to end very soon, and when the next celestial realm opens, I won't be alive till then. And if I fail this time, the Li family's bloodline will decline forever, and maybe the Li family's bloodline will completely disappear from this world." Hearing his words, Wang Lin, who knows how much importance family holds, could understand the pain inside him and says in his mind, to go to such lengths to save one's people and do all this, it doesn't seem like he is lying. Just then, Wang Lin lowers his sword and begins to say, "Don't forget, you tried to trick me earlier. So tell me, how do I trust you now that you are not lying?" To which Li Yuan begins to say, "What else could I do? I had no other option. But I admit that I made a mistake, but I didn't have the courage inside me to tell you the truth. But Brother Su, I know this much, that with your stop spell, my chances of breaking the seal will increase even more. So please support me, and if you support me, I am 90% sure that I will definitely break this formation." Saying this, he gives him a jade slip and begins to say that inside this, the first 13 steps of the 18-plum restriction are recorded, meaning 13 restrictions are present. The remaining 5 he hasn't added yet. Now, he gave these 13 restrictions so that he could apologize to Wang Lin, and to show his sincerity, Li Yuan had taken such a big step. When Wang Lin checks it, he looks at everything inside and understands that these are indeed the 18-plum restrictions. Wang Lin begins to say to himself, "I came here for this very thing, but I didn't expect that I would get it like this." Keeping it with him, Wang Lin says in his mind, "Although I cannot trust this person because he plans a lot, the sincerity he has shown proves at least this much, that he is serious." Wang Lin questions him, saying, "Do you really just need the stop spell?" To which he replies in the affirmative and begins to say, "You just follow me, because the source of the slave seal is right at the peak of this mountain, where a celestial stone statue is present. Only after shattering it with the sword can we finally break this slave seal. So tell me, Brother Su, are you really ready to help me?" Wang Lin says, "Show the way." Just then, showing Wang Lin the way, he begins to say, "Forgive me that I cannot give you the last 5 restrictions of the 18-plum restriction, because now they are completely forbidden for outsiders. But once this matter is solved, I am ready to go against my clan rules, because what you are doing for me, no one else can do." Wang Lin was just quietly listening to his words, after which Li Yuan, taking him along, had covered a considerable distance. Now guys, remember one thing here. This entire place is so mysterious that many mountains are present here. Now, upon reaching the peak of the first mountain, he reveals, that is, tries to remove the restrictions on top of the first mountain, which looked like a huge sword. Just then, Wang Lin says, "Before this, to trigger this mountain's key, you used the power of the late stage of Ascendant. But considering the way you did it, it felt as if a second-step cultivator was using it. Due to which, at first I couldn't understand, but now I understand that the origin of the restrictions you use and the origin of this mountain are completely the same. Because of which, naturally you know that you can control this restriction without reaching the second step. Am I not right?" Just then, we can see that he removes the first restriction, due to which huge stairs are formed in front of them. And hearing Wang Lin's words, Li Yuan begins to say, "Brother Su, I must admit, you are truly amazing. Yes, absolutely, you understood correctly, and this is because this entire restriction here was actually created through the annihilation restriction, inside which the profound mysteries of space and illusion are also present. Unfortunately, this is almost on the verge of complete extinction, but fortunately, my Li family still possesses its true inheritance." Here, Wang Lin knows well that inside the annihilation restriction, besides the 4 grades, heaven, earth, life, and death are also contained. But most people here do not know about this. Now, as soon as Li Yuan hears this, he himself was surprised and begins to say, "Exactly! But people here only know that it just contains 4 grades. But what do people here know? That beyond this there is something more, and beyond this there is a realm called the Void Realm. And if it is divided into 4 relations, only then does the 4-grade restriction come into existence, which comes above all laws. If someone understands even a bit of its knowledge, through it, They can move and control thousands of restrictions however they want, according to their wish. Saying this, he waves his hand and begins to say, even through this, you can control distance and the laws themselves. And now, commanding here, he says, follow my will. And suddenly, Wang Lin and Li Yuan's bodies rapidly float in the air, reaching so close to that mountain, a mountain which would have taken them almost 2 to 3 hours to reach. Now, upon reaching near the cave, Li Yuan begins to say, finally, now this is going to end. Saying this, as he steps forward in great excitement, suddenly he feels severe pain in his head, and he sits right there holding his head, seeing which Wang Lin gets completely shocked and begins to say, Brother Li, are you okay? During this, Li Yuan hears a voice here, which felt as if it would split his head open, and this voice was causing him so much pain that suddenly blood was coming out of his ears as well. And then he begins to say, why is this happening? Now, an ancient voice is heard by him, which begins to say, Li Yuan, you did very well by coming here, and now your mission ends here. Just then, as Li Yuan opens his eyes, he was present inside his sea of consciousness, where there was dense darkness, and he finds himself alone here and says, where am I after all? Just then, a shadowed figure tries to fly around him, seeing which he says, who are you after all? But then the sound of someone laughing comes, and one by one, many restrictions start forming inside his consciousness, from which chains come out, and they run to catch Li Yuan here. Li Yuan was flying and running as fast as possible to save his life, but those chains do not leave his chase. He says, you cannot escape from here. And suddenly, these slave seals, which were chasing Li Yuan continuously like chains, catch him. And just then, that guy begins to say, these ancient slave seals that were placed on the Li family, all of this was my doing. Just then, black smoke comes out from around, which condenses in one place and begins to take the shape of a figure. And suddenly Li Yuan experiences immense pain here. His slave mark, which was on his forehead, was suddenly giving him a lot of pain. Now just then, a huge giant hand appears here, seeing which Li Yuan immediately begins to say, how can you enter inside my consciousness, after all? To which that hand disappears, and the sound of a man laughing comes. Just then, and I was looking at him from top to bottom. Then Li Yuan begins to say, you cannot come here. But that guy says while laughing, I was here from the very beginning, ever since this slave seal was placed on you. From then until today, I have been right here. I have become connected with your family's bloodline in such a way that every child born in your family is born with this mark, and inside their consciousness, I am there too. Hearing this, the ground slips from beneath his feet. And just then, this cloudy figure slowly takes a solid form, and it was a mysterious man wearing black robes whose eyes were shining. He says while laughing, yes, absolutely. Whenever you guys break through to Ascendant while cultivating, I awaken inside your sea of consciousness. Here we are told that this guy is actually the celestial servant soul who looked exactly like Li Yuan, but he is a celestial servant soul. Now, as soon as Li Yuan hears the name Ascendant, he loses his senses even more. And then, calculating, he says, but how can this be possible? Because ever since this slave mark was placed, after that, only 2 people in our entire Li family have been able to reach the Ascendant stage. First me, and second our ancestor, Li Jinglan. So what then? His mind gets completely blown because he has come to know the truth due to which his entire life has been ruined. And then he begins to say, that means. Here, that celestial slave soul begins to say, exactly. You are quite clever, which is why you are my favorite. In reality, your ancestor Li Jinglan never found out until he died that I had already possessed him. But you are a bit stronger than him, though your fate will be the same. Now, fuming in anger, he says, so you did all that. Now tell me, what happened back then after all? Now, this celestial servant soul begins to say while laughing, of course. And then, what happened 10,000 years ago, the curtain is lifted from this secret, where we can see a small incident from 10,000 years ago, where Li Jinglan, who is the ancestor of the Li family and at the early stage of Ascendant, held that same seal-breaking sword in his hands and begins to say, today, using this, I will break to pieces the slave mark placed on our family. Saying this, he brandishes his sword in the air, and at this moment he was present in front of that same statue to shatter it, just as Li Yuan came here today in the present time with Wang Lin. Just then, as his giant sword manifestation jumps into the air to straight up destroy it, and as soon as he gestures with his finger, this giant sword manifestation lands on that big statue and cracks it slightly. Just then, inside it, its celestial slave soul awakens, and it starts making a creepy face. On the other side behind him, Gu Yanfen, who is the ancestor of the Gu family at the early ascendant stage, pays respect to him here, calling him senior, who had basically come here to help him. Now, the ancestor of the Li family asks him, "Tell me, is the sacrifice that we were going to give ready?" To which he says, "Yes, absolutely. The descendant of pure direct blood is completely ready." And just then, he brings out that same descendant from near him and begins to say, "This is the Gu family descendant who belongs to the Celestial Lord, and it is our duty to remain fully deployed for our Lord's resurrection. And whatever needs to be done for his resurrection, we will do every possible thing." Now, the ancestor of the Li family, whom this celestial slave soul had completely taken under its control at this time, picks up his sword and was feeling very proud. Now, Li Yuan was listening to all these things and begins to say, "Until now, everything happened exactly as we wanted. So where did the mistake happen, after all? That sword. It was made to break the seal. My people gave their lives for it." To which he says, "What? To break the seal? Perhaps you don't know that from the moment your ancestor held that sword, from that very moment your ancestor Li came under my control. I started controlling him completely. Perhaps you don't know that the sword which was forged to break some seal was actually made to nourish this celestial soul standing in front of you. You, Jinglan, and every single person, every member of your family. All of you are just my pawns. Every step you take just leads to my real plan, goes in that direction, so that one day you guys bring me here, which was my real intention, and after which you can fulfill my wish. But unfortunately, the work that should have been done 10,000 years ago, at that time I made a small mistake due to which I couldn't complete that work. But today, while Su Mu is present here with his help, I will carry out that incomplete work, and this time, no one will be able to stop me from succeeding." Now just then, he begins to go out of his consciousness so that he can control his body, and seeing him go, Li Yuan laughs, cries, and regrets a lot here and begins to say, "All of this, meaning everything was a lie? Yes, from the beginning to the end, everything was a lie. The goal for which I worked hard day and night since childhood, trained himself, all of that was just a lie. I haven't taken a sigh of relief until today. But what was the point of all this? Yes, what was the point? Brother Su, forgive me that in all of this, I have now trapped you as well." Now here in the present time, meaning in the outside world, Wang Lin says to Li Yuan here, "Are you okay?" Here, Li Yuan could see him in front of his eyes and was saying in his mind, "Please forgive me, and I don't think that in this lifetime I will ever get a chance again to repay your favor. Please forgive me." Saying this, he became unconscious right there, as if because now his body was under the control of that same celestial slave. Now just then, Wang Lin says to him, "What happened? Why aren't you saying anything?" Now here, the celestial slave smiles here and then, pretending in front of him, says, "Don't worry, I am fine. This was just a small backlash of that slave seal, and we shouldn't delay. Brother Su, hurry up, we must reach the top of the mountain." Saying this, he goes, but Wang Lin finds something strange in this. Here, while Wang Lin was following him, that guy was moving forward using the steps, and Wang Lin, walking behind, thinks in his mind, "Just now I felt two auras at the same time. How can this be possible?" Now here, Wang Lin checks him through his divine sense and sees no differences in Li Yuan's body, saying, "Identically, this is completely the same. But how can I be wrong? Is this my imagination?" Now Wang Lin was thinking a bit when slowly Su Leek says near his ear, "Master, are you listening to me? Listen to me. Something doesn't feel right to me. Something is wrong here." Now Wang Lin asks him, to which he begins to explain, "Just now, the way this Li Yuan looked at us, the daring look he gave us, because of that I felt a familiar aura. Such a chilling aura that it made my very soul shiver. I got scared. It was something like that." Saying this, he holds his head. Wang Lin, listening carefully, was looking straight at Li Yuan. And here, Li Yuan, who until now had been talking to Wang Lin, doesn't say a word and reaches straight near the entrance. Now Wang Lin sees the statue of that celestial here, which held its hand upward, and as soon as Wang Lin gives a look toward it, he sees a glimpse of that celestial realm when this thunder celestial realm was collapsing. Wang Lin literally finds himself at that very moment, in that same timeline when the celestial realm was being completely destroyed and ruined. That same day of catastrophe when everything changed. Wang Lin finds himself alone amidst all this. Everyone was fighting, and just then a celestial general named Gu Ziyuan comes here with his sword, and this is the same guy whose statue Wang Lin was brought here to destroy. Now just then, we can see that as soon as Wang Lin sees him, he recognizes him, and this guy alone, through his sword with a single strike, disposes of these huge meteor pieces falling from above to destroy this realm. All of them get finished, and Wang Lin, seeing his sword strike, was completely shocked. He himself was amazed how someone from such a distance could do all this with a single strike. Now just then, in the sky, a different phenomenon is visible to everyone, and then exactly the same scene happens that happened with the Rain Celestial Realm. A giant golden palm comes and just finishes everything off. Now, as this palm was moving to crush all of them, just then this Gu Ziyuan, meaning the Celestial General, brandishes his sword in the air. A fierce lightning falls on his sword, and he strikes that lightning straight at that hand. Everyone with him attacks to stop that hand, but everyone from the Celestial General onward fails, and that hand destroys everyone coming in its path along with their body and soul. And like a pestle on the ground, it crushes all of them. And after a while, we can see the scene when the Celestial Realm was collapsing, the Thunder Celestial Realm, and just then that Celestial General's body was cracking here, but even while falling to his knees, he begins to say, "Even if I have to die, I will die, but my soul will never be destroyed." Just then, a voice is heard shouting and calling everyone pure. Meanwhile, Wang Lin understands the whole matter, that in reality this is the same guy because of whom all this started. Now here, the celestial slave soul starts going completely out of control, and going near the statue. Looking at it, he begins to say, "I have waited for I don't know how many years for this moment, and now finally this work will get done." Now just then, from his possession, meaning from the bag of holding, he brings out that lady of the Guo clan. As soon as Guo comes out, she tries to run away from here. But just then, Li Yuan, meaning that soul, the slave soul, had controlled her, and holding her, he pulls out his sword and says, "Today, through your blood, I will avenge my clan, after which, our centuries-old account will be settled." To which that lady begins to say, "No, you can't do this. You can't." But by then, he had already finished her off. The splashes of her blood fall on his face, which he applies onto his blade, and then this blade was also completely activated, and a red aura comes out from inside it. Now here we can see that after sacrificing that lady, this statue begins to absorb the blood from her body. Slowly, its eyes become completely red, and looking at that statue, Li Yuan begins to say, "This statue, which looks as if it's reaching up to the heavens, will now come alive very soon." Now just then we can see that Wang Lin, who was watching this entire scene, put Su Lik to work. Now Li Yuan does one final act. Bringing out that lady's body, he starts thrusting it straight inside the statue. Just then, suddenly something happens due to which cracks begin to appear in this statue. Very big cracks were appearing. Wang Lin then looks toward his hand, and during this, Li Yuan says to Wang Lin, "Brother Su, what on earth are you doing? Please help me. This is the right time." But Wang Lin says to him, "Forgive me. The moment I stepped here and looked at the statue, I saw some glimpses of the time when the Thunder Celestial Realm was collapsing. A sight where this statue-like figure was standing to protect all the people, and the sword in his hand. Just by looking at it, it was clear that it was extremely strong. Its power was extremely dangerous. But I cannot understand how, even after dying, his sword left its master, and at that time, near the statue, his sword is not present either. How, after all?" Here, sweat begins to break out on Li Yuan. Wang Lin questions him and says, "Tell me, why doesn't this statue have a sword in its hand after all?" Now he becomes quiet here. Then Wang Lin begins to say, "A sword is born only to protect its master, and if its master is killed, it doesn't change its loyalty. Rather, it disappears itself or breaks. So tell me, what is going on here after all?" Hearing this, he gets a bit angry here. He begins to say, "Fine, I am increasing your reward. Help me. After this, you will not only get the remaining 5 restrictions of the 18 plum restriction, but along with that, you will also get the true legacy of the annihilation restriction. Just then, Su Leek says to Wang Lin, Master, I have sensed it. That thing is actually present right at the core of the statue, meaning right inside the statue. Hearing this, Wang Lin, flying in the air, goes near the forehead of that statue. Seeing this, Li Yuan thinks that perhaps Brother Su has agreed because of the big offer he gave. But just then, Wang Lin pulls out his celestial sword and, shouting, strikes it straight at that statue. Seeing this, Li Yuan's eyes pop out, and in the next moment, a loud explosion occurs, and from inside the statue, we see that same old, completely ruined sword, seeing which Su Leek says, Man, this is already on the verge of ending. But still, even in such a condition, it was holding the entire structure of that statue inside itself. Yes. Now just then, Li Yuan, using his power, begins to rebuild its statue again. And here he says to Sumu, You promised me that you would help me, so why are you going back on your word after all? To which Wang Lin begins to say to him, Yes, I had promised Li Yuan that I would help him, and I hadn't promised the sword spirit of the celestial sword that I would help him. Saying this, Wang Lin starts running away backward from here. Yes, Wang Lin is so cunning that, man, he figured out that this is actually a sword spirit. Now just then, this sword spirit, unleashing its true power here, begins to say, You cannot run away from here because this entire place is actually my domain. After which, flicking his fingers, he snaps. And as soon as he snaps his fingers, a powerful restriction field comes out from all 4 sides, completely blocking the surrounding area, due to which Wang Lin, who was rapidly flying to get out of here, suddenly finds his path blocked, and a very big, extremely big giant restriction hand moves rapidly toward Wang Lin to grab him. But this hand, as long as a mountain, perhaps doesn't know who it has crossed paths with. Now just then, we can see that as it gets closer, another hand also appears from the other side, and the same restrictions were applied on it too, and both charge straight toward each other to crush Wang Lin. And in the very next moment, both crush him with both their hands, just as Li Yuan felt here, and many explosions were visible to him happening, and he was thinking that perhaps Sumu's chapter is closed. But man, Wang Lin proves here why he has been surviving on his own strength until now. He had planned everything, and just as he was being attacked, his celestial puppet comes and stops this attack. Now, as soon as he sees the celestial puppet, that sword spirit laughs and begins to say, Will this stop me? And right then, he binds it completely through chains, after which, dragging it, he brings it near himself and trampling it under his feet, begins to say, A mere low-grade celestial god, what do you think, can this defy me? Yeah, absolutely not. Now here, man, his real daring look comes out, and he orders Wang Lin, Silently help me, and if you help me in reviving the celestial lord, in return you will also get a reward, and maybe I will even let you leave here alive. Hearing this here, Wang Lin pulls out his celestial sword and, jumping rapidly in the air, reaches straight to attack him. Now just then, he attacks toward the ground below. Now smoke had spread all around here, and Wang Lin understands that it was an illusion restriction. Then he thinks in his mind, Li Yuan had invited me here so that I could become a very crucial part of his plan. But this guy wants to revive the celestial lord through me. So if he really wants to revive the celestial lord, how can I be of use to him after all? Meanwhile, here we can see that Li Yuan, meaning that spirit, had created a barrier through a formation in front of him. And as soon as he removes it, he begins to say, Truly, I underestimated you way too much. Now, since you are refusing to help me, now I will show you the true power of the 18 plum restriction. Saying this, gathering his hands together, he forms the 18 plum restriction in front of Wang Lin, which was looking quite amazing. After which he begins to explain, First restriction, meaning the first bloom of the winter plum. Just then, he unleashes the first restriction of the 18 plum restriction as well, where from inside the ground, the first restriction comes out like a tree and turns into a huge, dense tree whose every single tentacle charges together straight toward Wang Lin. These sharp tentacles want to pierce Wang Lin inside out, but Wang Lin, dodging them, steps back. Just then, that guy comes forward and, near this tree, there was a small twig, which is called the fourth restriction, Looking at it, he begins to say, "Oh, so you were found so quickly." And then breaking it, he hurls it straight toward Wang Lin as well, where this restriction, the fourth restriction, taking the shape of a human, attacks straight at him. Here, Wang Lin was now busy fighting them, but just by looking, he has understood that these phantoms are all being born with this restriction, continuously coming endlessly, and can regenerate again and again. Wang Lin here has understood that he is trapped inside a restriction domain, and winning like this against the 18-plum restriction is extremely difficult. Now here, making slash attacks, he tries to cut the big trunks of this tree and the fourth restriction, but they regenerate again and pounce upon him. Just then, as this tree man attacks Wang Lin, meaning the fourth restriction, suddenly Wang Lin can feel that this restriction is becoming a bit destabilized, due to which this fourth restriction was suddenly moving its hands and legs in a completely strange way, as if someone is controlling it. And just then, we can see inside that Li Yuan, who was still trying to control his body from inside his sea of consciousness, was fighting against this spirit, resisting it. Because of that, this sword spirit was facing a lot of trouble here, and just then inside the sea of consciousness we can see Li Yuan, who was still fighting back with full dedication. He was experiencing a lot of pain in this task, but he knows that he cannot give up like this here. Just then, slowly his eyes open, and tightening his fist, he says in his mind, "No, I cannot let Brother Sumu lose like this." Just then, slowly he tightens his fist, and in the very next moment, he suddenly loses all his strength, as if and had become unconscious again, due to which all the command comes back over this sword spirit here. And here Wang Lin, who was fighting with that tree, had understood this much during this time. That whether it's the restrictions inside or the restrictions outside at this moment, everything here is somehow connected to Li Yuan, and everything is in his hands. I can handle it from the outside, but he will have to do everything from the inside, and I just have to awaken him somehow and strike from both sides together. And only by doing all this might we find some way through which we can get out of here. Now Wang Lin, disposing of every single thing here, was trying to get closer. While on the other side, that sword spirit sees that Wang Lin is coming to attack him here, so he jumps backward with all his might, and during this many restrictions behind Wang Lin go to attack him. Running, he comes inside, and Wang Lin's sword strike hits him directly as well, but just then another restriction comes in between, due to which Wang Lin was feeling very angry. On the other side, Li Yuan fights back again from inside, due to which the sword spirit was now in pain. Just then, Li Yuan, who was trapped inside, hears in his consciousness, "For 10,000 years, my master planned me so that I could revive him, and this is my Tao heart. What do you think, that through this boy here you can shake my Tao heart? Never, never at all." Now, touching his slave seal mark here, he weakens Li Yuan from inside, due to which, over the restrictions outside, the sword spirit's control becomes even better, and through it, he attacks Wang Lin as well. Here Wang Lin, who had reached quite far, as soon as he hears Tao heart, suddenly remembers something, and right then he remembers that statue. When it had absorbed the blood, suddenly tears were flowing from its eyes, but tears of blood. Just then, Wang Lin understands something and begins to say, "Could this mean?" But before he could do anything, he is attacked again. But with the celestial sword, Wang Lin stops it, and now here, talking face to face with that sword spirit, he says, "Listen to me very carefully. You say that your Tao heart is flawless, yes? And 10,000 years ago too, you felt the exact same thing. So tell me one thing. Why did you fail 10,000 years ago after all?" Hearing this question itself, that sword spirit was completely shocked. Li Yuan's handcuffs, the chains in his sea of consciousness, now slowly begin to weaken, and just then that spirit holds his head. He was in pain, and Wang Lin understands that exactly as I thought. It's the exact same matter. Then, with one strike, he first removes the obstacles in front. After which he begins to say, "I have been thinking ever since then, when Li Yuan was begging me for help, he had only told me this much, that I have to use the stop spell to stabilize the statue. But you also want my help. You want to use my spell to recover your celestial lord. But I couldn't understand what kind of help you needed from me, after all. But now I understand what you need, after all. You never needed the stop spell at all." Rather, saying this now, Wang Lin pulls out the karma whip in his other hand as well, and showing it says, "You actually need this karma whip." Saying karma whip, Wang Lin pulls out his karma whip in his other hand and begins to say, "You actually needed this karma whip. Why, am I not right?" Now Li Yuan, who was trapped inside the sea of consciousness through those restriction chains. Slowly they disappear completely, and this sword spirit, holding his head, says, "Give that to me. Quietly give it to me." Wang Lin says, "You need this karma whip so that you can reverse the karmic outcome of your master's chosen death. That is why you need the karma whip. And 10,000 years ago too, you tried this, but back then you failed. But the reason for your failure was never outside interference. Rather, all of this happened because of your master. Your master, meaning that same celestial general, who himself refused to awaken, and you knew this fact from the beginning, but you didn't want to accept it. Why? Isn't that so?" Now here guys, with this scene, our today's breakdown video ends right here. And how did you like this video? Do tell in the comments. And I know that you guys are very, very excited for Celestial Lord Qing Shui just like me. But guys, don't worry, man. As grand as his entry is going to be, even more than that will be the things before it. Whether it's the Treasure Pavilion incident or Master Flame Spark. Man, we haven't seen their true introduction yet. Man, it's going to be a lot of fun in the upcoming episodes. So guys, if you are new to the channel and are watching the video till here, make sure that you definitely like the video and subscribe to the channel. Until then, bye.